CCP's Deception of the World.
Hello everyone, it's Michael here.
Our program Deception of the World systematically exposes the CCP's history of deception and murder through presenting historical events and influential people. In today's story, the CCP has not contributed a dime of credit on recovering Chinese sovereignty. We will discuss who did the work and how it recovered the three of China's sovereignties in China's modern history. For 70 years, the CCP has been lying to the Chinese people that its CCP established a new China and overthrew the three mountains. That is, imperialism, feudalism, and bureaucratic capitalism that had been over the heads of the Chinese people, who have since become the masters of their own country. However, the CCP created disastrous cases of its dumping to the 1,000-year, 5,000-year flood, the tragic annihilation of millions of Henan people in Zhengzhou. Showed that from the beginning of its seizure of power in China, the Chinese people had kneeled, the CCP stood up for itself, the situation had not changed. Despite being so heinous, it still spares no effort to discredit the pre-1949 national government in every aspect. This episode is about one key historical point: who recovered the three sovereignties for China? As we may all know, after the two Opium Wars, the government of the Qing Dynasty signed a number of unequal treaties with Western countries, and was forced not only to cede its territory, but also give up its particularly important customs control and tariff autonomy. In addition, Western citizens enjoyed extraterritoriality in China. The term extraterritorial jurisdiction refers to the exemption from the Qing government's jurisdiction. As early as 1843, Britain first obtained the right of consular jurisdiction through the unequal treaty. That is, our citizens broke the law in your country and have no right of control. My consul in your country has the final say. This was the beginning of the so-called extraterritoriality. Since then, the connotation and extension of extraterritoriality have been expanding, and foreign concessions in China have become countries within countries, and extra-legal enclaves where Western citizens cannot be tried by Chinese courts for crimes committed in China. There were many Chinese who were heartbroken over this inequality in the Qing Dynasty and the Republic of China, and knowledgeable people kept speaking out and kept working tirelessly to regain their sovereignty. The CCP wrote in its party history book, before 1949, the Chinese Communist Party made persistent efforts to abolish the unequal treaties imposed on China by imperialism. What efforts? It included making up slogans, sending out leaflets, criticizing the national government. By that time, the CCP usurped power. These slogans were made even louder to cheat Chinese people. It declared the abrogation of all unequal treaties. The CCP's propaganda department also tried to obscure the truth as much as possible, giving Chinese people the impression as if China had relied on the CCP to get back the sovereignties it had once lost. However, the truth is that the nationalist government under the party of Kuomintang took back extraterritoriality, customs control, and tariff autonomy from the 1930s to the 1940s. Let us talk about the process. In response to the unequal treaties signed with various countries at the end of the government of the Qing Dynasty and under the Beiyang government, President Chiang launched the new treaty reform movement in 1928, after the establishment of the Nanjing national government, one of the main elements of which was the withdrawal of consular authority. On June 15th of that year, the nationalist government issued a declaration to the outside world, pointing out that the various unequal treaties made with various countries under the Beiyang government were also forbidden by independent countries, and that now, when the unification of China was completed, new treaties should be renewed in accordance with the proper procedures to fulfill the purpose of equality and mutual respect for sovereignty. On July 7th, Wang Zhengting, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Nationalist government, issued a declaration announcing the abrogation of all unequal treaties and the renewal of new ones, and proposed three specific measures. At that time, 15 countries enjoyed consular jurisdiction in China, including Britain, France, the United States, Japan, the Netherlands, Italy, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, Denmark, Norway, and Brazil. Among them, 6 countries, namely Japan, Italy, Belgium, Portugal, Denmark, and Spain, had expired in 1928. And among the 6 countries, except for Japan, which explicitly expressed its fundamental opposition to the abolition of the old treaty. The other 5 countries agreed to the abolition of consular jurisdiction in China, but with many reservations to this content in the form of an annex. In April 1929, the national government again sent notes to 6 countries, including Britain, France, and the United States, requesting them to abolish consular jurisdiction. After consultation, these countries only verbally agreed, but did not take the slightest practical action. Seeing that the diplomats were going to play tricks, on December 28th of that year, the national government issued an order stating that from January 1, 1930, all foreign people residing in China, who now enjoy consular jurisdiction, shall comply with the laws and regulations promulgated by the Chinese central and local governments in accordance with the law. The order was issued, but considering the serious international situation facing the new government, on December 30, Foreign Minister Wang Jingting gave this explanation. Although the declaration was issued, the future implementation of the declaration is still subject to diplomatic compromise. Despite the national government's concessions, France and the United States still wanted to gain an inch, and on January 2, 1930, they still declared that they could not accept China's unilateral abolition of the consular jurisdiction enjoyed by all countries in China. Knowing, of course, that they were unreasonable, the British soon submitted to the Nationalist government a submission for the gradual abolition of consular jurisdiction over 5 years, which was echoed by other countries. Faced with the negative attitude of Western countries, the Nanjing national government promulgated 22 articles of the regulations on the implementation of jurisdiction over foreigners in China on May 4, 1931, which came into effect on New Year's Day 1932. But unfortunately, Japan had just invaded northeast China, and the regulations were suspended. During this period, however, the national government did not stay idle, and after a series of diplomatic negotiations and talks, it successfully recovered sovereignty over a few concessions, leases, and leased courts, such as the Wei Highway lease, the Xiamen British concession, and the Shanghai Provisional Court. This demonstrated the national government's determination and action to pursue national independence and sovereignty integrity, and was not at all a matter of lip service. After Japan's full-scale invasion of China, the National Army, under the leadership of Generalissimo Chiang, fought an arduous 8-year war of resistance and collaborated with the Allies to drag the Japanese forces firmly to death in the Far East. The bravery and tenacity of the National Army and the great role of the government of the Republic of China in the World War against fascism won the respect of the whole world. We will continue our story in the next episode. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.